Okay, so this is part two of my Israel-Palestine conflict entry. And I did a first initial reaction that I initially, had a feeling of annoyance, basically, when I hear that Israel got attacked again. And we already know the automatic protocol here. Now Israel's going to go back and punish them tenfold, and everybody's going to call this a catastrophe, and the moral ethics are going to be debated, and there's so much just garbage rhetoric around this theme, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, but yet it's just so normal at the end of the day. There's nothing surprising about it. This has happened since the inception of Israel, since day one, literally. There was a war, the Arabs declared war on Israel on the first day of its inception. It's just the nature of the beast, and it's grotesquely normal, this continual cycle of Israelis being terrorized and disgustingly attacked. That's true. And then Israelis retaliating righteously. And so, but then as I thought about my first reaction, I think, well, it is insensitive what I said, because you can't just say, oh, it's normal, no big deal. That's kind of what I said, because I was annoyed. But when I dug deeper in my own self, then I myself felt the pain of what actually happened. And I have skin in this game. Okay, my father is from Israel, and that's half of my composition is have an Israeli father. So I know very well all the details, at least from the Israeli side. And even when I was 18 years old, right after high school, I went over to Israel because I wanted to learn more about my father, where he came from, and to see where he grew up. And he served in the military. My father also went to a kibbutz, which is a cornerstone of Israeli society. It was a big part of how Israel built itself up in the beginning days, through their kibbutz network, which is basically like a commune type of system. And so I first went over to a kibbutz, and I had the time of my life. It was just wonderful for a young person. There was an international crowd of Jews and non-Jews, totally free, kind of very laid-back hippie. It was right on the Mediterranean Sea, and there was a little island you can swim to. I mean, gorgeous. It was called Ma'agan Michael. And I was just in heaven. It was just so much fun being young and, socializing. I learned some Hebrew. I worked in a banana field. I also worked in a papaya greenhouse. And then I worked in a meat gay, which is where you pick fish. And then I worked in a factory, which was where they injection mold plastic into things like agricultural hoses and etc. And and then I also did a 3-month boot camp in the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, and I served a boot camp session. And so I had a M16. I went into the Lebanon buffer zone. I went to Jerusalem. I went to the occupied zones. I had thorough training. I shot machine guns. And also, I was not from when I was living in the kibbutz. This is not from when I was in the military, but when I was living in the kibbutz, I actually got attacked by a group of Arabs. There was an Arabic town just right next door to that kibbutz. And my friends and I were kind of hanging out near the the buffer area between the kibbutz and the Arab village, and we got surprise attacked by a group of knifed assailants. And one friend got separated from the group, and they had him with a knife on his throat, and it was a hostage situation, and we actually had to pay them a ransom. And so I got skin in the game. I know what it's like. I know the situation over there, and it does hurt to know what happened, you know. And when they say this was an attack, it was not just an attack. It's the wrong word. Look, they went in there. A mob of men went in there and just sadistically murdered, you know, man, woman, and child. And they did it with a serial killer jubilance, in the name of a god. They were yelling Allahu Akbar, raping women and beheading the women after they raped her. A bloody corpse. You know, this is necrophilia. This is, you know, this is the most gory type of murder. And the celebration of it is just gut-wrenching, sickening. It's serial killer type stuff. This is like sex gore. This is just as worse you can get. This is like mutilating bodies and doing it with pleasure. Really, that's really what it is. You know, we gotta call a spade by a spade, and there's no other way to, you know, there's no justification on that. But there's just so many arguments too. So I think you need to call it what it is. And this whole argument of Israelis retaliating and then innocent men, women, children will die too. Yeah, innocent men, women, and child will die, but they're not going to be raped and beheaded. That's a military operation. The retaliation is a military operation in response to one of mankind's most, you know, outrageous, you know, behaviors of all time. You know, so it's a military attack. Those people are collateral damage. They're, you know, these guys, these Hamas are hiding behind, underneath hospitals. I mean, that's it. They're good. Yeah, innocent men and women are going to be killed. But it's the way that you're killed. You know, there's dignity and non-dignity. You know, it's by design. It's by Palestinian design that the men, women, and children die. Their own people. That's for sure. But there's so much more to this topic, and I think it does need to be thoroughly fleshed out. I'm going to go through that more. I'm going to have a follow-up to this where I'm going to get more, I'm going to try to be more concise and not talk to other. Right now I'm just airing out my thoughts, and I'm not making a cohesive argument at this point. But then the next update I will. The next update, I've already have notes in my journal, and I have the ethics, I have history, I have the economic, political situation. I even have some suggestions of what I think could be done to resolve the issue. And so I'm going to update that one coming soon, where I'm going to try to be as thorough and concise. I'm going to put something together. Okay, that's my number 2 update.